Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food for Thought cast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan. I'm joined by the official co-host of the Food for Thought cast, Chef Steven Gonzalez. What's up, dude?
Yeah. How's it going?
Great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. What you got going on?
Well, it is Thanksgiving, and at the time that this episode releases, I will be in Indianapolis working. And where will you be?
I will be at home preparing a meal
All
for
right.
all of two people.
All of two people. You know what? Two people can put away a lot of food. Like,
We can,
you have to throw that gauntlet down. You have to determine the expectations up front.
yeah. Yeah, buddy.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody, as usual, for tuning in. I have to ask you the same, right? As every single episode, I want to know what the most amazing thing you ate this week was.
So, I actually just got back from Philadelphia, and we ate our heart's content. Reading Market's one of my favorite things, but you know what? The best thing I ate was Jenny's ice cream. Have you ever had it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
All right. So what kind?
3 words. There you go. Boston cream pie.
Really?
Holy cow.
Man.
Oh my god. I love sweets, but I don't do a lot of ice cream. But that one, damn, I couldn't stop eating it. It's good.
Did you kill a pint?
You know what? I actually didn't. I was so full. I ate as much as I could. And you know when you get just on that verge of like getting sick, you're like, I gotta stop.
You're like, there's a fine line between I want to lay down for a nap and I'm gonna throw up.
Right? You're just putting food in your mouth. It's just kind of falling out because you're so full.
He was like,
But man,
yes.
I mean, that thing was just amazing. Yeah.
Well,
what about you?
I haven't had the Boston cream pie flavor, but she did release an everything bagel at one time that was cream cheese flavored ice cream, lightly sweetened. Dude,
we almost got that too,
bro. It was so good. It's so good. The most amazing thing I ate this week, I went down to Good Friend Package. Shout out to them. I had a French dip sandwich, but instead of Swiss, I got their house-made pimento cheese on it. And it was killer.
That just sounds amazing.
It was so good. They put little caramelized onions on there. Their au jus is really good. So yes.
I'm always a sucker for those sandwiches, to be honest.
Highly recommend.
Oh yeah.
They put up with all my shenanigans there too, because I've added peanut butter to almost every sandwich on the menu, and they're not even bad an eye anymore. So shout out to Good Friend Package.
Nice.
But yeah.
Food destinations.
All right. Yeah. I mean, you have to act like a tourist in your own neighborhood too. But I'm so glad you got to go to Philly. Did you have a Philly cheesesteak?
I did. I went to the Reading Market and I had a Philly cheesesteak there. I think it was called like the Ben Franklin or something like that, where it was like cream cheese and mushrooms and onions and peppers and the ribeye steak, all that good stuff.
Yes.
And yeah, I got it the first time I went there and I was blown away. I did Pat's and Gino's and I mean, it's all right, but
I mean, there's a bit of a difference between like an Italian beef sandwich and a Philly cheesesteak, but for my money, it's got to have Cheese Whiz on it.
I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't know. Maybe they just had an off day at Pat's and Gino's because I did both back to back, and they were good.
Man, that's a lot, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the sandwiches aren't that big, or at least I don't think they are. And I mean, they, like I just wasn't blown away by them.
I mean, I'm not really fooling anybody. Anybody who actually knows me in person knows I could easily put away 2 sandwiches and probably a pint of ice cream, and I wouldn't even. Have heartburn, but I mean, just because you can doesn't mean you should. It's like Jurassic Park, but but
so there was one place. Okay, I finally tried Scrapple for the first time.
Oh, did you like it?
Oh, dude, I loved it way more than I thought I was going to. I was excited for it when I saw it on the menu, and then when I tried it, I thought, oh, yeah, this is.
Tell everybody what Scrapple is.
So it's a big mixture of like, isn't it traditionally like offal and stuff like that, and like oats and cornmeal, and they like make it into this loaf, and they slice it, and they either pan fry it and they deep fry it or something like that.
Well, you can have it. You can have it either way. You can have it deep fried or you can have it like griddled. I like to personally, this will probably make somebody mad on one side or the other, but I like to think of Scrapple as like the Cadillac of Spam.
I could
but
see
it's better than Spam. I said what I said. I don't care what you think.
These are our thoughts.
Hashtag
don't cancel us.
These are the Thoughtcast. I love Scrapple though. It's freaking delicious. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
So one day I'll have to actually make it from scratch, but it's like I said, isn't it traditionally like offal? Because I know like a lot of recipes I looked up, it was like pork shoulder and stuff like that. And I mean, that's cool, but
were you trying to find out what was in it, or were you going to make your own?
I want both. I want to find out what's in it traditionally, and then I want to make it myself. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it like oatmeal that they throw in there, or is it cornmeal? Like I don't know. I could have sworn it was oats or something like that they threw in there.
I think. All right. Well, I'm heading to the internet because like I don't want to get it wrong. The classic Pennsylvania.
That way it's true.
Right. It'll be official and true, of course. Right. The classic Pennsylvania Dutch treat made with liver, spices, cornmeal, and buckwheat.
Thank you.
Hog offal, such as the head, heart, liver, and other trimmings, or as my mother would affectionately call parts as parts. Boiled with any bones attached. The meat is picked off and then formed into a loaf.
Yeah.
I'm all man, if that doesn't make you want to eat it.
Yeah, buddy. I'm all about it. This stuff is good.
It sounds pretty good right now. Spam is like pork and ham, and Scrapple is named Scrapple because it's made of scraps. So
I mean, it's all kind of made out of scraps. But
thank you, Wikipedia. I like both, but I think Scrapple's a little bit. If you could call something that was a mixture, a loaf of parts, more refined, I think it's more refined. I don't know. I'm
going to try to incorporate it into my Thanksgiving meal now. So there's that.
Okay. In what way?
I have no clue yet. It's Scrapple stuffing. There you go. Done.
Oh, bam. My God. I have thoughts about this. Are you making anything new at Thanksgiving besides trying to put Scrapple into the meal?
Well, my wife doesn't know that I'm throwing Scrapple into the meal yet. But when she finds out, she sent me a list too. Hold on. I got to find it. Okay. So Thanksgiving 2023. Sliced Brussels sprouts baked in feta with balsamic glazed tart. Of course, the brine turkey. She wants an apple bread pudding, spinach madeleine, cornbread, and sage sausage stuffing. Say that 5 times fast. I can't even do it once.
I will not, sir.
And of course,
entrapment.
Yeah, I know, right? But I'm a little bit disappointed because I'm expecting like the mac and cheese, the sweet potato casserole, all that stuff. I don't know.
Right. All right. So she sent you the list. Is that the menu, or will you both be cooking it, or is it just for you to cook, or what?
Oh, just for me to cook. Nosy? She's the idea. Oh, okay. She's the brains on the brawn.
I got it. No, you're smart too.
It's just like the Bugs Bunny cartoons. Remember the mobsters where it's like, shut up, you. Yeah, my wife hits me and goes, shut up, you. I'm going to come up with new ideas.
I don't believe that, but okay.
I know.
All right, so cornbread stuffing with sausage.
And now Scrapple.
Yes.
Dude, I'm gonna throw
cornbread stuffing when you grew up. Was this part of Thanksgiving?
I think there was a handful of years that we did cornbread stuffing. It was more the traditional breadcrumbs, like the Pepperidge Farms and all that kind of stuff.
So it was bread stuffing, but not like cornbread. What we would call in the South
dressing. It was cornbread. I can remember for many years I was turned away from stuffing just because of the way it looked, and I remember celery. Obviously there's always celery in it. Like your good mirepoix, and celery is not my thing, or wasn't my thing. And I would.
But you know better now, right?
Oh yeah, no, I like it now.
All right, I have to make a very important. We have to specify. Stuffing goes inside the turkey and dressing goes in its own pan. I said what I said.
Stuffing goes in the turkey.
Well, I don't know. We're going to get clapped back, but you know what? Like in the South, we call it cornbread dressing for a reason. It doesn't go in the turkey because you didn't stuff it anywhere, so it's not stuffing.
I just use the two very loosely. To me, dressing and stuffing are the same thing.
And for a lot of people, it is. I'm just giving you a hard time. So for me, I don't like to I don't like to stuff the turkey because you're going to pull juice out of the turkey. I would rather put aromatics in the turkey to flavor it while it's cooking.
Well, see, I still kind of go off of the whole, like, if you stuff a turkey and you got to cook it to like 165 or 160 and then let it carry over. And then, you got to let the stuffing itself get hot and then your turkey's dry and all that kind of nonsense.
Yeah, it's either go through the process twice, right? You got to cook the stuffing before you put it in the turkey in order to not overcook and dry out the turkey, or it's like, okay, well, then you just put it in a pan and cook it by itself and it's dressing.
Or, man, and they just don't make sous vide bags that big. Otherwise, I would stuff the whole, like I would stuff a turkey and cryovac and then sous vide it for like 2 days, You could do that, right?
It could, yeah. I think it could be tasty. I mean, I don't know. I'm not on the sous vide.
There are some things that should be sous vide. There are some things that are not. Turkey's not one of them, but that would still be badass to sous vide a whole turkey. And I know people have done it, but I haven't.
I've seen a lot of things sous vide that shouldn't have been. A lot more than should have. I'll just put it that way. So, listeners and viewers, if you don't know what sous vide is, it's where you cook food in a vacuum sealed plastic pouch, typically in a hot water circulator.
It's science.
It is science, and it's really cool for some things. And just like anything else, man, it got into the wrong hands sometimes too. And then people start acting a fool. I don't know.
Yeah, you get people like us who just want to eat any and everything.
All right. So, what was on your Thanksgiving table growing up? I want to know.
It was a lot of the traditional, the turkey, the ham, the sweet potato casserole, the mashed potatoes, the green bean casserole, the pumpkin pie, the cranberries or the canned cranberries, gravy. I can't. I'm pretty sure there was more, but
Okay, so
what about you?
I have questions. Well, a lot of the same, right? But every family's going to have the things they like and the things they don't. So, what goes on the ham?
Just so HEB always has the glazed hams, like the brown sugar hams and all that kind of stuff. So we just always went with that. Kept it simple.
So more to the sweet side.
Yeah. I don't mind it, but
I like, as an adult, I find that I like more of the salty, like the country style ham.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah. In the South, obviously, there's a lot of Coca-Cola going on hams. Unless you're smoking them.
So, or you just go, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and do rum ham.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with like some rum, brown sugar, raisins, let it make a syrup.
No, you just let it soak in ham and that's it. You just eat it. It's already cooked. You just heat it up and you just get drunk in the process.
I don't drink rum, but yeah.
But if I did, right?
If I did. Also, so you said sweet potato casserole. Is it marshmallows or is it praline topping or something else?
It was kind of a give and take, or like one year we do marshmallows and then my mom started doing the praline pecans and all that stuff. And it was good. If we went to like a family member's house, it was usually the marshmallows. My mom liked to adventure out just a little bit.
Yeah. So my mom doesn't like the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows. So as a kid, the only time I would get those was at hot lunch at school. And it was always really something to look forward to, even though, at school, they were just using like canned sugary Sams, like draining a number 10 can of the sugary Sams, what they call yams, which they're not. Everybody, thank you. But they're just sweet potatoes. But a yam is the size of my arm, and it's a starchy thing that's grown in the Caribbean and doesn't taste like sweet potatoes. Okay.
Right.
But yeah. And so,
but they're still good.
They are amazing, but a lot of people in America have never had a yam ever. And so, yeah. But yeah, she does like a pecan streusel topping, and it's freaking delicious. Don't get me wrong, but man, I like marshmallows on it too.
I like that stuff. Yeah.
Did
I
you
like
have
it
mashed
all.
potatoes?
We did. And it's funny because after I started working in restaurants, I remember one year I was taught like to throw egg yolks in your mashed potatoes and it'll give it that nice yellowish kind of tint, but it makes it like
Yeah.
10 times more rich.
Yeah.
And I did that for my family one time and they thought it was so strange at first. And then they tried the mashed potatoes and they said, this is really good.
See, the key is you gotta have to banish everybody from the kitchen so they can't be like, "Why are you doing that? What is that? Why'd you put that in there?" That's the
I
worst.
feel no, you know what? Like I was very fortunate to where like my family they didn't question it. They felt like, oh, he went to culinary school. He knows what he's doing. Did you get that a lot too? Oh,
It
Melissa went to culinary school.
it
She knows what
depended
she's doing.
on which and whose
Right.
house and everything else. I've worked so many Thanksgivings that there hasn't not been a um there hasn't really been a Thanksgiving where was responsible for a majority of the cooking or all of the cooking. I think there's maybe been one.
Uh-huh.
So
Now,
yeah.
did you ever have like? Did your family do fried turkey, roasted turkey, or smoked turkey?
So not fried turkey, but roasted and smoked for sure. So
Yeah, we always did
yeah.
the roasted turkey. I don't think we ever smoked it.
Any other meats at Thanksgiving or just turkey and ham?
Just turkey and ham. I don't think we ever did. No, I don't think we ever really did anything else.
Yeah. What about breakfast on Thanksgiving or not?
So I always did breakfast, and my mom would always say you have to just have a little bit because of course we're gonna have this big old meal, and I always still overdid it anyways. And so I'd have like two possibly three giant meals that day, and like the way you feel after just exerting a lot of energy and
Mm-hmm.
you're exhausted and all you want to do is take a nap and you know forget that you're alive. Yeah, that was me. I'd say I felt like I ran a marathon, but I've never ran a marathon, so I just was so tired and exhausted.
My Thanksgivings they were very disjointed as the years went on. So that's not to say anything bad. It's just usually I was working or traveling or
Yeah.
lived out of the city or whatever. And so but when I was growing up and my grandmother still cooked Thanksgiving in the house that I grew up in, we would usually have like maybe biscuits and bacon or like biscuits and eggs and bacon. And then she would have always made like 2 or 3 batches of biscuits the week leading up because the biscuits would go into the cornbread dressing.
Oh, that
So
sounds awesome.
because you kind of like let them stale out and
Yeah.
so I have like very fond memories of sitting on my grandmother's lap and helping to mix the dressing in like a huge Tupperware bowl. My mom will have to help me out after this episode. I think it was purple. It's a big purple plastic bowl. So
So let me ask you this: like when your mom listens, does she ever tell you that never happened? I don't remember that story.
no, it's usually just like, hey, I listened and I liked it. It was really funny. And then the other day she was like, yeah, and I like candy corn. So there.
Candy corn will never go away. We will
It's
talk about
so
candy
good.
corn in almost every podcast,
So
even
good.
in the summer.
I think my dislike of pumpkin comes from her and also my early dislike of blueberries. Um, so they say imitation is like the most sincere form of flattery. So if I wanted to be like her as a kid, those were the things that I ended up not liking at first, and then we always had deviled eggs. Did you guys do deviled eggs on Thanksgiving?
No, we never did. I honestly never really had a deviled egg until I was in my 20s, I think.
God, I'm sorry. That's super sad.
Well, I never thought about it,
They're
like
so delicious.
yeah, they are.
Well, we put boiled eggs in the cornbread dressing, and so we always had them around. So we would make deviled eggs, and then a big thing at my house growing up was homemade pimento cheese, where you
Uh-huh.
like grated the cheese by hand, and we would stuff it into celery sticks. And we always had like a
Ooh.
relish tray, so we like pickles and olives and stuffed celery. But you would never ever see in my mother's house, and you still won't. You would never ever see like peanut butter in a celery stick ever. Ever. I'm the big peanut butter eater, and she's like, nope.
I
Like,
like
yeah.
peanut butter. I just don't eat it as much as I want to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. I eat it way more than I should. Probably way more than should be legally allowed, to be quite honest. Green bean casserole. Is that the traditional cream of mushroom fried
Yeah.
onions type business?
Well, Seeing as how I'm not a big green bean person, I do Brussels sprout casserole now. But growing up, yeah, I ate the green bean casserole. I don't know. I think it's because it was so covered up with all the cream and mushroom soup and all that.
How do you like Brussels sprouts better than green beans? What's wrong with you?
Because I don't know. That's a good question. I think I'd say I guess it's a texture thing. I really couldn't tell you.
Wow. All the green beans though, like cut short green beans and like haricot verts and flat Italian broad bean, like green beans and like all of it.
I just not a fan of it.
I don't know. I'm fascinated. Even bacon, even with bacon.
So I have to taste the bacon more than the green beans. I think that's what it is. And you have to throw a lot of like onions, caramelized onions, and garlic, and well, yeah, that's a given.
What about fried green beans?
I can do it, but it's not on the top of my list.
So it's not that it's a green vegetable because you like Brussels.
Oh, I love green vegetables. They're good. And anyone who knows me, you might say I'm calling bullshit, but I do like green vegetables. I like broccoli, I like Brussels sprouts. Those are the two main ones I'll eat.
You said
greens. I like all that stuff.
You said that you make Brussels sprouts casserole.
Casserole, yeah. I just sub the green beans for Brussels
sprouts.
Yeah, Brussels.
Yeah. The same way though?
Yeah, pretty much.
Dude. Okay, that kind of sounds good. Maybe.
What I really want to try is air frying the Brussels sprouts to where like they're on the verge of like just burnt. That way when you bake it all off, like with the cream of mushroom soup and all that kind of stuff, you still get a little bit of a crunch, but I know you really won't. I don't know.
So you won't blanch them at all, right? You'll just put them straight into you'll like cut them in half. Do you take the little root end off?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like them shaved more than anything else. But
so the dressing, the stuffing, however you like to call, right? What is it that goes in yours?
For the stuffing and dressing, you said? Excuse me. I like a little bit of everything. The mirepoix, the garlic, of course, the breadcrumbs. I like a lot of herbage, like rosemary, thyme. I'll do a little bit of sage. I'm not a big sage person, but I will throw a little bit in there just to kind of balance out all that flavor. Of course, I prefer white pepper over black pepper in my stuffing.
Sure.
And I try to use, like your traditional chicken broth or beef broth and stuff like that. But it all depends on what I have lying around more than anything else, really.
You take the juice from the turkey at all?
I usually don't because I'll use that juice to make my gravies.
Sure.
Because by that point you're like, well, I need something now to make my stuffing now,
Yeah. And then cranberry sauce, yes or no?
Wait, the jellied, the canned stuff, or like making it at home?
That's the question. Yeah.
I'll do both. Yeah, I don't care. My wife loves the canned cranberry, and I don't care what anyone says. It's good, but I don't mind making it from scratch either. And I'll make it more like a chutney style,
I used to open a can at like when it wasn't Thanksgiving and eat it as dessert. It's so good. I don't care. Right. I don't care. In the 1920s, that was made popular by Marcus Uran, and he went on to found the Ocean Spray Company. But in the first Thanksgivings, right, they would have had cranberries, but they would have been facing a sugar shortage, so they wouldn't have had any way to make them palatable. They probably had. I was going to
say, do you like raw cranberries or like actual cranberries?
No, hell no. They're terrible.
I thought it was just me all these years.
No, it takes so much sugar to make them taste good, which is why I'm like, look, if we're talking about nutrition and you're worried about the sugar that's in a can of full berry or jellied, cranberry sauce, some people just don't like the texture and some people are against cans altogether. I totally get it, right? But if you're just talking about like, oh, it has too much sugar. Dude, you ever tasted an unsweetened raw cranberry? Good Lord. It's terrible. Yeah. It's like a punishment.
You just want to cut your tongue off.
It's like the amount of
bitterness in it.
The amount of like acid that's in there, the bitterness, the that tart.
I don't even get acid out of it. I just get bitter. As soon as I taste it like a raw one, I'm like, ugh, no.
It's.
I want to come up with some sort of dessert though with the canned cranberry, like some sort of like use that and have like some sort of creme anglaise or something like that, and some sort of badass like pastry. I don't know where I'm going with it yet, but I got to figure something out.
I think you didn't ask me, but I'm going to tell you what I think.
I want to hear your 2 cents.
I think that in a shallow tart pan, you could get away with a frangipan on the top or bottom of the whole berry cranberry sauce. You could probably fortify it with a little cornstarch.
Ooh, that sounds good. But it's not. I don't know this frangipane you speak of. I have always known it as frangipane.
Frangipane.
Do you remember that? I remember that from college school. I remember.
No, we were so stupid.
What do you mean were?
Same. But you said that, and I was like, if you're going to tell me right now in front of all the 3 people that watch this thing that you don't know what frangipane is, I was like, I'm going to lose it right now.
No, it's frangipane. It's frangipane. It's not a ring-tang. We'll make it a ring-tang. No, I remember Miles said that, and it just stuck with me. Like, for the rest of my life, it's going to stick with me. So
for real. So for anybody who doesn't know, frangipane is a sweetened almond custard. It kind of looks like, before you cook it, it kind of looks like hummus is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And it is really, really tasty. And it just bakes into this kind of like crumbly deliciousness.
I haven't made it since I was probably like 19 or 20.
I haven't made it since a grade depended on it. Really. But I'll eat it. I will eat it. There's a couple bakeries in town who will use it. And I'm like, yes. If I see this in the description, I'm buying it.
You know what I would probably do is make some sort of like donut and then stuff it with like that cranberry and creme anglaise or something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You should take it a step further and cook it into a pastry cream. I think would be like really tasty.
Or with like the Boston cream pie, like cream. Oh, yeah.
So what you're saying is you're going to make cranberry Boston cream pie donuts.
So what I'm saying is I am prepared to lose 2 toes from diabetes. Not just one. That's a 2-toer right there.
One thing that I've done before is I have mixed the whole berry cranberry sauce into flan base and creme brulee base, and it works well both ways. It doesn't have enough. There's no like weird component in there that affects how the custard works. In other words, right? You know how pineapple will keep, gelatin from doing the right job, or, if you put too much, XYZ fruit into whatever, it doesn't work. But cranberry is not one of those things. And it's already cooked and canned, so it doesn't have any like ill effects on like the science part of the baking. The other thing I do with it is, you're going to hate this. Maybe you'll hate it. I don't know, but it's
unless you say you put it with green beans and celery, then I'll hate you.
So there's this recipe I like to make called salsa berry chicken. It's not even a recipe. I can't even justify. They might come take my chef card away for this. I don't know, but I like it and I don't care. It's paste pecani sauce and whole berry cranberry sauce. On top of chicken in the crock pot.
That doesn't sound bad at all.
It's so good. And then you just shred the chicken up and eat it over rice, and I don't care.
I was going to say, I feel like if you mix like a little bit of some sort of brie or something like that to like cream all that up, holy crap, that sounds like it would probably be good.
If you took like whole berry cranberry sauce and really hot hatch green chili and you mix it together and put it over a bar of cream cheese and you had a box of Triscuits, like I wouldn't be mad at that.
So, so when I used to sell stuff with my employer, I used to work like in little kiosks and stuff. And there was a brand that had a cran raz sauce.
Yeah.
And everybody would come up to me and say, if you could put this over cream cheese. I mean, after the millionth time of hearing that,
you're like, obvious man says obvious things.
At first, I was like, yeah, you can totally do it. And after a while, it's like, what? I never thought about doing that. What are you talking about? No. But yeah, or that, or people would be like, you could just put it over baked brie. It's like, is there gonna be puff pastry involved, or are you just heating up brie and putting that on top? Because you got to take a step further than that. Come on.
I don't like when people bake. Like, I see all those TikTok videos go by about like baking a wheel of brie or camembert, and they leave the rind on top, and I'm like, what are you doing right now? You need to prepare this a little bit. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I just eat it straight out of the wrapper, but that's just me.
Ain't nothing wrong with that either.
Down it with some heavy cream. Heck yeah.
All right. So are you the pumpkin pie guy? Cheesecake? You said apple bread pudding. Is it a different thing every Thanksgiving or what?
Well, let's start with the initial question at hand. Pumpkin pie and I are very fond of one another. I used to love it when I was a kid. I think I liked it more for the whipped cream than anything else, but I still liked it,
Yeah.
And then I slowly started turning to the pecan pie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They're both really good, but I mean, it's one or the other. And then I started turning to like the pumpkin cheesecake because I don't like pie crust. I mean, I like pie crust, but like I don't know. I'm weird. So
yeah.
What about you? Pumpkin pie, pecan pie?
So not pumpkin pie. I probably every couple of years will get a piece of pumpkin pie that's like this wide. So for those of you who are listening to this, I'm holding up a ballpoint pen. I mean a sliver of pumpkin pie and covered in a half of a tub of Cool Whip. Yes, I said Cool Whip. I don't care what anybody thinks about that. It's freaking delicious. So that I didn't have to taste it. Right. It's kind of silly though. What a waste of good Cool Whip. And then I like pecan pie, but there's nothing about pecan pie to me that says this is overtly Thanksgiving food. Like I could eat pecan pie whenever, right?
True.
But as a kid, we always had, and my aunt still does make buttermilk pie for Thanksgiving, which is the Southern play on chess pie. So it just has a little bit less eggs in it. Really, really, really good custard pie. And then my grandmother's carrot cake. That's a Thanksgiving standard. So while everybody's listening to this, it's likely that I'll be lying in a hotel room having ordered pizza for Thanksgiving in Indianapolis.
I mean, I've gone to go have dumplings for Thanksgiving before. There's no judgment.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, people can judge away. I'm gonna have a great time with my feet up, not doing a dang thing.
That's more the important thing, is that you're not doing anything.
Yeah. So, any special cakes, cookies, pies from growing up, or was it always like kind of the same stuff?
It was pretty much the same stuff, and then you get like the powdered sugar cookies and all. You know what I'm saying?
Like a wedding cookie?
Kind of, yeah. Like the the shortbread and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean,
dude, I could eat my weight in those cookies.
They're good. They really are. But I was more about that pumpkin pie than anything else.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I started making it more into a cheesecake than anything else because I like it that way.
Yeah.
But there's something about my cheesecakes. Like every time I make them, they're so light, and I'm like, this is gonna be dense. It's gonna fill me up. It's gonna be good. And then like, it's not that I'm disappointed that I make a very light and airy cheesecake, but I'm like, I have to let this settle some more. So I'm doing something wrong.
Off air, we're going to have to compare cheesecake recipes because I have one cheesecake recipe from my grandmother. It was a praline cheesecake recipe. And hardly anybody makes it for family gatherings anymore because we do have one person who has a nut allergy. But this cheesecake got hit with a little maple syrup on top. And this thing was heavy enough to break a window. So maybe we can figure out what the formula. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad. It was delicious. I'm just saying maybe we can figure out off air what the formula is to make a heavy cheesecake.
Lots of love.
But I'm a really big fan of like the Italian style cheesecake too. That's got the ricotta in it. I love that.
Oh, dude, I forgot all about that. I should do that.
It's really good. It's really good.
I like ricotta. I could just eat ricotta cheese like out of the tub. I don't care.
Same. Well, I would like to play a little game with you. You're up for a game?
Are you ready to play the game?
Are you ready to play a game?
Heck yeah, let's do this.
All right. So we're gonna call this thanks or no thanks. It's exactly how it sounds.
Celery pie, no thanks. Green
Celery
beans, no
pie,
thanks.
no thanks. Green beans with extra dill, no thanks. Turkey covered in cumin. And Steve's like, what game is this? You
Shoot, I was about to say snorting a lot of cumin. No thanks.
Okay, so I have a small list of some regional Thanksgiving dishes, and I want to know thanks or no thanks. Ready?
Okay.
Apparently, it is not Thanksgiving in Baltimore, Maryland without some sauerkraut on the table, thanks to the large German American population of Maryland. Sauerkraut at Thanksgiving. Thanks or no thanks?
No thanks.
Yeah, no thanks. Pass. Also, crab cakes, Chesapeake Bay, Baltimore. Crab cakes at Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks. I would like crab cakes at Thanksgiving.
Crab cake stuffing.
Oh, God, that sounds so good. What about corn on the cob at Thanksgiving?
A lot of people will say thanks. I'll say no thanks.
Yeah, I'll say no thanks. The corn can stay in the summer where it belongs.
I was going to say, if it's cream corn, then I'd say thanks.
Maybe, so I didn't grow up with it. Not in the house that I grew up in, but at my aunt's house, when they gather for Thanksgiving, they do corn casserole. Have you had this stuff?
I've had it before. I haven't had it enough to like dissect the recipe and all that, but yeah, I've had it. It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, so sometimes in the South, there's variations of this, and it's called spoon bread. Actually, that's not true. It would be like spoon bread cornbread, but that's still kind of different. It's more like of a drop biscuit thing. But anyway, kind of the run of the mill corn casserole is Jiffy cornbread mix, cream corn, whole kernel corn, sour cream, and eggs, and there might be some milk in there.
About that, yeah.
It's really tasty. It's just, my mom didn't eat corn. She still doesn't. We didn't have it. I'll eat it though.
I didn't really eat a lot of corn, but I definitely listened to a lot of corn.
Hey, freak on a leash. All right. So, hasty pudding. Do you know what hasty pudding is?
No, I don't.
Let's learn. All right. So, in New England, hasty pudding is a delicious, simple dessert made with cornmeal, molasses, brown sugar, and spices. So it's basically a hot dessert porridge, and it's topped with whipped cream or ice cream. Thanks or no thanks?
I'd say thanks.
Yeah, same. There's a variation on this dessert called Indian pudding, and it is really delicious. So yeah, dude, I'm all about it.
Tasty
also,
pudding.
Right?
That's
also tasty. Yes, tasty pudding.
I was gonna say it sounds like a nickname for my wife.
Hey. Also in New England, it's like everybody's just
what?
What? Also in New England, stuffing is made with clams or oysters instead of just breadcrumbs. Is this thanks or no thanks?
Thanks. My family does that too. They do the oyster stuffing.
Really? Are any of them from the north?
No, but I don't know where they got that from. I mean, obviously someone from the north, but couldn't tell you.
That's super interesting.
I forgot all about that until you just said that right now. Still, thanks.
I've had stuffed clams. I'm slightly allergic to oysters. Like I can get to like oyster number 6 and start to go, maybe no more. But I would throw down if it was made with something else, like mussels or clams.
I do that
so
too,
yeah. Thanks. What about creamed onions? Apparently, this is a huge deal in the north.
Creamed onions. I've never had creamed onions, but that sounds pretty good.
Okay, I say thanks. Onions. You say thanks?
Yeah, thanks.
Oh yeah. All right. Next up, going farther to the East Coast, some New York and New Jersey Thanksgivings include Italian dishes like manicotti. So thanks or no thanks?
Since I love manicotti, I'll say thanks.
Me too.
I feel like
fried?
Huh?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like I'd be throwing out a wild card right there with that one, but still, I'd be all about it if I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm reading an article from Insider.com, and it's talking about regional Thanksgiving dishes. And so what it's saying is that New Jersey and parts of New York happen to have large populations of Italian Americans. And so in these families, before the turkey is served, there might be like a meze course, like a pasta course. So I ain't mad at that. So not at all.
I'd be about that. So yeah, I'd say thanks.
Oh yeah. Thanks. Thanks very much. I would like 3 different kinds of pasta in addition to turkey. That's what I want.
Right.
What about fried turkey? Thanks or no thanks?
Thanks, I guess. It's not it's cool.
I'm going to say no thanks. I think there's so many better ways you can cook a turkey, to be
True.
fair. Yeah, to be fair. All right. Turkey tamales as a leftover after Thanksgiving. Thanks or no thanks?
Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
You know tamales. What? I just also did like a leftover Thanksgiving, like croque madame. And I have to say that was pretty good.
Oh, man. Yes, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
A huge fan. Well, I think I know what you're going to say to the next one, but sausage in stuffing. Thanks or no thanks?
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. What kind of sausage are you going to put in your stuffing this year?
I like breakfast sausage personally.
Yeah.
I just keep it simple.
Like a regular savory kind or like a maple kind?
Regular savory.
Mm-hmm.
Regular
I like
savory.
It. Yeah, I can see that. I like a chicken and apple sausage too in a sausage stuffing, but I'm more apt to make that kind of dressing or stuffing, whatever you like to call it, right? I'm kind of, it's more common that I'm going to make that when it's not Thanksgiving. Just because we grew up with just cornbread dressing.
Yeah.
All right, we have to move into the Midwest. You know, all the places where they make salad with all the things that don't go on salad. Yeah.
Don't you mean like a spaghetti and chili?
Kind of, but this is more like those ambrosia salads and things with Cool Whip and Jello and pineapple and marshmallows.
Oh yeah, the good stuff.
I'm here for all of those things. But have you ever heard of frog eye salad?
Frog eye salad? No, but I'd be about it.
Well, there's no frog or eyes in it, but it's made with acini di pepe pasta. So the teeny tiny little pastas that look kind of like couscous. And it has pineapples, mandarin oranges, Cool Whip, and marshmallows. What do you think?
I'd be about that. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I say thanks. I will eat all those monstrosity things that have. I'm here for all the Watergate salad, the pink stuff, the pink fluff, the green stuff, the green junk, all the things like even the cottage cheese, pineapple, lime, Jello. Yeah, I want it. I want all of it.
I'd be all about that. Yeah,
dude, they're gonna come take my chef card, but I don't really care.
Nah.
Pumpkin empanadas in New Mexico. Thanks or no thanks?
We have that all year round. Thanks.
I know, right? Yeah, thanks. I don't know why apparently Arizona and New Mexico make this just a Thanksgiving thing, but I'm like, why?
I'm not gonna lie, I've been craving that. I haven't had them for a while, but I've been craving that with like my coffee in the mornings.
Really?
It sounds good.
So if it's gonna be an empanada, I'm a huge fan of like you can have pumpkin, I'm gonna have sweet potato, and then I like guava is kind of like my favorite empanada.
I don't mind guava. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I like it too. I like pineapple as well. So green bean casserole, you say thanks, but no thanks.
Thanks with the side of no.
Thanks with the side of no thanks.
Way to be. Yeah, I'm kind of ambiguous on that one. I don't know.
In the Midwest, wild rice casserole made with mushrooms, pecans, and onions. Thanks or no thanks? Yeah?
I'd be about that. Yeah, thanks.
Dude, you can have it. Wild rice, because it is not really rice, has a strange texture to me, and you can't cook it far enough for it to be done. I'll eat it. If I was at somebody's house, right, and we were in Wisconsin, and they were like, you know, here's wild rice casserole, I'd be like, okay, great. And I would eat it to be polite, but yeah.
I would totally do it.
Yeah, I might try it. It's just not my favorite. Okay. So, also in Wisconsin, they say cheddar mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving. Thanks or no thanks?
They'd have to be, what kind of cheddar? Sharp cheddar?
Wisconsin cheddar.
No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, I'd be about it. Yeah, for sure. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. What about sweet potato pie?
I'd be about that too. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you eat that often, or is
Not
it just something
often.
that you've tried a couple times?
I've had it a handful of times. And I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. Mac and cheese, does it belong at Thanksgiving?
Yes, it does.
Yes,
That's a
thanks.
thanks.
Yeah, that's a big thanks on that one. I like all of the southern, collard greens, sweet potatoes, okra. In our family growing up too, we had turnips. So I realize that's not, a usual thing for everybody's family, but I love all those things. So
I do too.
do you know what? Go ahead.
Let's say there's very few things that I don't like when it comes to Thanksgiving. So yeah, I'm easy to please.
There are a few things I think that have to be a part of Thanksgiving, but also I think there should be some like progressive things at your table. You
Such
should be
as
trying new things. Well, nothing too crazy, but you should just try something new every year, right? Like, I don't know. You might find a
define
new
new.
thing.
I'm confused. Like, do you mean like some sort of
Like new to your family? So instead of if you have a Caesar salad every year, like maybe try some kale in it one time. If you have a cornbread dressing every year, like maybe try a different bread dressing, right? Or if you have turkey every year, like maybe offer a different kind of meat. You know, that's all. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but I like to have something different sometimes too. You
yeah?
know,
I can see that.
yeah.
I can totally see that. Like,
I mean, people get like really used to what their traditions are and what they like to have, but sometimes you have to. You never know if you like something without trying it. You know what I mean?
yeah, I
So,
can see that. I mean, I I get the tradition of Thanksgiving, and granted, we do lose a lot of like what the intention is about behind Thanksgiving, but at the same time, it's like everyone that I know does the same thing year in year out, and that's fine. But I don't know, I like to change it up, like you were saying. Like I've never like the menu that I was telling you earlier. My wife was saying, "Oh, we could do it as a tart," and I'm thinking, "No, we got to change it up. But we got to do it like a galette and this and that and blah blah blah." And it just sounds like it has to be like that, you know. And so she goes, I think one of them was what, like an apple bread pudding or something like that. And I was like, no,
yeah.
it needs to be done this way and this way, you know.
I mean,
So
I do have some steadfast opinions. Really, the most rigid that I'm going to be is that you should gather with people you love if that's what you want to do, right? They
mhm.
don't have to be family because sometimes family is who you choose. And sometimes, friends are family as well. And
Yeah,
then just be thankful and eat good food. And whatever it looks like to you, then that's the right thing. You know,
I
kind of
agree. Yeah,
sounds cliche, but it's like, don't put so much emphasis on.
I didn't know you wrote
But if you have
Hallmark
like,
cards.
huh?
I said I didn't know you wrote Hallmark cards. Come on, get out of here with that
I
nonsense.
didn't. Those opinions just make me a pariah in a bunch of places. But it's just like if you have something traditional, do it well and enjoy doing it. And if you're in the mood to make a new tradition, then do that because sometimes traditions are overrated. We just do them because we think we're supposed to, and they become rote. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You
Now,
know.
whenever you have to make your Thanksgiving meal and everyone's
Hmm.
relying on you to do it, how are you preparing it? Are you preparing it with music? Are you preparing it with a cocktail? Both? Are you telling everyone
Yes.
to basically get the hell out of your kitchen before you stab them? Or are you accepting of their help?
So, I'm not the person to banish everybody from the kitchen, but typically, you and I are trained chefs, so it's like, I mean, you can help if it makes you feel better, but we don't really need it. I don't know if you find that to be true. Um, I don't know. I don't. It sounds like such a crappy thing to say too, but it doesn't come from a place of like not being grateful or not wanting somebody to feel like they're participating, right? But it's like also, yeah, I know how to prioritize 18 dishes all at once. Now, like I told you, I think I only really hosted one time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Usually I have a cocktail in hand and I have music blasting and um I'm prepping. Usually I'm like going to somebody's house for Thanksgiving and I'm prepping whatever I'm making a couple days before.
yeah.
So
What
yeah.
kind of music are you blasting?
It's Christmas music.
Is it Mariah Carey Christmas?
No, so it's not Christmas music every year. Sometimes I'll get in the mood for it if I'm thinking about Thanksgiving. Usually it's classic rock. It's usually like with my Pandora or Spotify, it's gonna be like the Leonard Skinner channel, or it's gonna be like Dave Matthews, John Mayer. It's usually guitar driven. It's what I like to listen to when I cook. So yeah. What about you?
I usually just blare a lot of death metal, like a lot of like Black Dahlia Murder, Cannibal Corpse, some Slayer, and
is there Thanksgiving themed heavy metal music?
I'm sure there is. There's a band called Psycho Stick who does comedy metal, and they've been around for many years, and they actually put out a Christmas album like back in 2006, something like that. Nice. It's hilariously awesome. Like every December, it's only like a 15-minute CD or EP, whatever you want to call it, but I play it all the time.
Hey,
because it's that great.
If it makes you happy, then it's the right thing to listen to while you cook.
I mean, it's either a death metal, like some good rock, like, some 311 and some Toadies and all that kind of stuff too. But it just depends on what kind of mood I'm in,
Yeah,
I'm happy either way. It's not like I put on death metal when I'm mad. It's like, no, death metal makes me happy,
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in set the mood the way that you want, and the love and the energy, if it's right, then you'll transfer it into the food. And you can always taste when somebody's cooking with love, So it tastes that much better because you're going to put the care into it.
It puts a smile on your face. Absolutely. It's kind of like I say, if it puts a smile on my face, it's going to put a smile on your face, unless you're just dead inside and a complete asshole, Otherwise, yeah. So some foods at the first Thanksgiving, I don't know how you would feel about these now, but at the very first, what they consider to be the first Thanksgiving meal in 1621 in Plymouth. Now they think that Spanish settlers made it to St. Augustine 60 years before, but would have had something similar because all the same things available in the sandy soil along the coast, right? So they would have had lobster, assorted types of fish, like bass, mussels, clams, venison, oysters, eel, corn, squash, and maple syrup. What do you think? You lost me with the corn, but you got me with everything else.
Well, you can't not have the corn because they were companion planting it with the squash.
Or as people like to say, maize.
Maize, which is
I'd be all about it. Yeah, like I love seafood, so like all that sounds really good. I'm surprised. I'm pretty sure they didn't think about eating like frog legs and stuff like that, but I'd be all about that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably not to say
very
that people
random and wild card. Yes.
It's not to say that people weren't eating frog legs before the French started cooking them, but I think the French had this special way of, butter, cream, and white wine to make them taste really, really, really good. It's like, what was a fricassee before people knew it was a fricassee, like, what was a cream sauce, right? But they probably had assorted types of fowl, but sadly no turkey. So
it's hard to imagine.
The Swanson Company popularized turkey.
I was just about to say, in what year?
Well, I know that in the 1940s, they overestimated how many people were going to want turkeys, and that's how we ended up with the Thanksgiving TV dinners. They had to do something with them so they didn't go bad.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That sounds very, very spot on. But I have a different theory.
What is it?
Aliens.
Aliens.
Yes. Aliens are the reason why we have turkeys for Thanksgiving. Now, I remember reading that fact. Like it was just over commercialized, and like it's just a way for these companies to like sell a ton of turkeys. But yeah, you're right. What do you do with all the stuff that people didn't buy? Yeah. TV dinners, and I'm sure that
it didn't hurt. They sold 10 million TV dinners.
I'm sure that they were good back then, but they just don't have the same ring as, like leftovers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you had to pick between leftovers and TV dinner, what would you do?
Look,
granted, now they're both kind of like TV dinner is kind of like leftovers, but still.
Well, I think they used to be more like leftovers. Now they're extremely mass produced because they're made for the microwave. But back then they were in foil trays and they were flash frozen in a different way because they were expecting people to cook them for 20 to 30 minutes in the oven. They weren't necessarily a convenience food. They were like an alternative food, you know?
Yeah.
So I bet they tasted amazing, you know? On some level, it was like you bought somebody else's leftovers. But now the TV dinner is a completely different, a frozen dinner, right? Is a completely different thing. Yeah, if I had the choice, I would choose leftovers. It depends. Leftover what, though? It depends. Like,
right.
I also
What's
have
your
this
favorite thing to do with leftover Thanksgiving.
Carrot cake for breakfast with coffee the next day is a big favorite. That could be a couple of meals. It could be breakfast and lunch. I like to. I'm not the person that repurposes the leftovers. I'll just keep eating Thanksgiving until it's gone.
I love to repurpose stuff.
I mean, I like to as well. It's just like it usually just doesn't happen that way. Usually, I'll just have 3 or 4 more plates of Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not reinventing those things.
I have to share a story with you now. So, right when I moved to Midland, it was the first Thanksgiving we had in Midland, and we were in our apartment, and we were watching PBS, and it was something about like, you know, getting together with friends for Thanksgiving. You know, it's magical, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
What do you do with the leftovers? And this lady, she made a soup, but she got everything and put it into a pot. Now I get it, you know, like that's, you know, you're utilizing everything, but no, she's getting like plate scraps like that from people's plates and putting it into a pot.
That's how you get hepatitis. We're not doing that.
Right.
No.
And she's throwing the pumpkin pie in there. She's throwing like everything in this giant pot and filling it up with water and just letting it go low and slow overnight. And so like the following day they taste and they're like, oh, this is so good. You have subtle notes of pumpkin. And I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. You just had
so gross.
Like, yeah, exactly. I really hope that like all the plate scraps that she got were like, no one was sick. No one had like bad breath or like some sort of, you know, gum disease or something like that. Because then, you know, yeah, I tell that story every year because it just grosses me out. And of course, you look at the lady, and she just looks like she looks like a hippie, and that's cool. But like even hippies would be like, that's disgusting, you know. And I could not get over it. The memory haunts me. My wife and I still talk about that and laugh.
That's just nightmare fuel, man. I can't believe that. Food for Thoughtcast disclaimer: please don't scrape your guest plates into a pot to make soup. Just don't.
We're gonna use everything.
Just save the turkey carcass and make a nice broth.
If you got dogs, just give it to the dogs. Just like now, the dogs don't care.
My dogs care. They'd be like, no, thank you.
I think my dogs now would be a little bit slow to get to it. But like if my wiener dog Coney was still alive, oh, he wouldn't even think twice. He'd just go head face first into the scraps. And he'd eat it until they were all gone. Even if he was a fat little round sausage, he would eat it.
My dogs are rescues, and somebody really did well with them beforehand because they don't. I've tried to offer them table scraps, like a little piece here and there, and they're just like, no, that's okay. We want dog treats. So I got lucky with them. Steve, man, tell us where we can find you online.
If you're going to find me on social media, which is the chef Steven Gonzalez, or you can go to the gram, the TikToks, or the Twitters under the name Chef Stigans.
Okay.
I don't know how you spell that, but it sounds kind of cool. Or just, you know, go to chefstevengonzalez.com and talk food to a website that I don't really pay too much attention to anymore.
But you will if people start talking to you on there.
Yes.
That's what has to happen.
I think, yeah. I need to be better. I need to be better about that. I'm honest.
Well, we super hope that everybody is having an amazing Thanksgiving. If you're listening to this the day after, that's awesome because you should be focused on whatever you're doing on Thanksgiving Day. If you don't celebrate, happy last Thursday in November to you. Whatever you do, won't you share with us your favorites, the regional differences, your best recipes, your least liked items, right? Just come shout at us, the Food for Thoughtcast on Facebook and Instagram.
Your recipes.
Won't you share your recipes with us? Yeah, tell us why. Tell us why we're wrong about. Well, actually, we're not wrong about anything, but yeah, tell us why. Tell us what made your Thanksgiving delicious. But anywho, for Steve, I'm Melissa, signing off.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Peace.